Okay, so what's been happening this week? I was interested in Google's new data center announced in an old power station in Alabama. Okay, it's an interesting building, and it's just the last bit of coal-fired power station has closed down, and they are installing a data center, $600 million worth of data center, and which will be entirely powered by renewable energy.
Yes, so they're replacing a coal-fired power station with a renewable powered data center.
Yes, that's right. I mean, not sure what that does to the actual balance of power, because you've gone from producing energy of one sort to consuming energy of another sort. But they can at least recycle some of the cables, because the power lines that used to send power out, some of them can be used to send power in to Google. And the powering of this data center is interesting, because Google has said it will be all renewable. But what do they mean by that? Our reporter David Chernikoff spotted that Tennessee Valley Authority, the utility that's just closed down the coal-fired power station at Widows Creek, is building a new power station which will be low carbon, very definitely low carbon, in the next state, Tennessee. And unfortunately for some environmentalists, it's going to be a nuclear power station. It's going to be the first nuclear power station that America has built this century. So it's going to be interesting to see if Google uses some of that power. If Google goes nuclear, will Greenpeace go ballistic?
Very interesting indeed. And talking about brownfield projects and sort of like industrial regeneration, Markley Group is building a new 50 megawatt data center, well, I mean, eventually 50 megawatt in Massachusetts. And what's interesting about that facility, 20 years ago, it used to be a Prince Macaroni pasta factory, a huge pasta factory. And now they're converting it into a data center. It's been about 3/4 empty for the past 20 years. But back in the day, it was so prominent it gave the place a name, Spaghettiville. And if you check the website, there's some pictures. To this day, there's signs all over the place calling it Spaghettiville. Very interesting. One of the execs said the building has strong bones. So it's very strong floors, high ceilings, good power links. So yeah, these old, empty, derelict industrial buildings make really, really good housing for data centers.
Right, and in both cases they've been gradually emptied of their old use and then refilled. Speaking of tough and resilient data centers, our reporter Nick Booth went to see a Canon data center that is supposedly indestructible. It's a transportable module that can be plonked down anywhere. And Canon has sent these to war zones in the past, so we can agree.
So that's the most interesting thing. Have they actually used it in deserts or beyond the Arctic Circle?
They have. They've plonked these into Camp Bastion, the British camp in Afghanistan, and various other places. They've had to drop them by helicopter in a matter of minutes because that's the only window they could have without being shot at by the Taliban, and then have army electronic communications experts on a 6-month shift looking after these things remotely.
That is impressive.
Yeah. So what have you got to tell us, Max?
Yes, this week I've been to Juniper Networks Proof of Concept Lab in Amsterdam. It's a very interesting facility. So the idea is they have 80 racks of IT equipment there, and it's not just Juniper equipment. It's literally like I saw Dell and HP. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it's there, and it serves as a sort of like a trial facility for customers to come in and test out the Juniper kit, see if it plays nicely with other equipment. And just generally, yeah, a very, very interesting place, because like the oldest Juniper kit there is 14 years old, and it's like these old beige boxes that are meant to send like a gigabit down a line of copper, and until the very, very new stuff. The router they've just launched yesterday is not there yet because customers are testing it, and Juniper thinks customers should take priority. So once customers are finished with it, they're going to put it in this proof of concept facility.
Right. And is there anything special about this router?
It is, yes. It is small but mighty. It's the smallest core router in the industry, and the fun thing is, one of the Juniper marketing guys compared it to the Ant-Man, because the previous router was a big and strong one. It was the Iron Man, and yes, the idea is...
Ant-Man.
See, I didn't have any belief in Ant-Man, but I'm slowly starting to turn around, and I'm really excited about the film because they are relaunching it, but they're sort of like keeping up with the continuity, and I didn't know about this because who was the original Ant-Man?
Okay, yeah, the original Ant-Man. His name was Henry Pym, and he was a scientist, an actual scientist. There's a lot of scientists in comics, and he was not just a scientist, but a mad scientist. Well, during an episode of mental illness, he created Ultron, the big bad guy. Which is slightly different from the film, but he created this bad guy called Ultron, and yes, there was the spousal beatings. Ant-Man himself was, of course, a founder member of the Avengers. He suddenly realised that if he was started off at human size, and he took some of the chemical that grew him, he would become bigger.
Yes.
Yes, so he changed his name to Giant Man. And for a while he was Giant Man. It was great.
Absolutely serious.
Absolutely serious.
You learn something new every day. And speaking about learning new things, the latest edition of our magazine is now available as an iPad app, as a fully interactive one. We have sort of animations, we have embedded videos, we have working links to the website. So we're convinced it is the best way to consume our content, and the designers have done a great job. So do check it out. It's free and it's updated every month.
Okay.